How can we take away something that isn't rightfully ours and give it to someone else? Well, the simple answer is that we can't, and we generally don't. What exceptions could there be to this common law rule? None that I can think of. But if we were to do this, take what isn't ours and give it to someone else, wouldn't we want to give them what we're telling them we're going to give them? Well, this is the plan that was put in place for the freedmen. The newly reformed union wanted to promise every freedman 40 acres of land for them to live on and crop for their own. Where is this land coming from? The Confederate leaders during the Civil War and fellow citizens of our own country. But how can we promise them this land if we don't have the means to get it, or give it to them, such as the means to obtain the land, or if their means are found, the amount of land to be had?
Thaddeus Stevens' plan through Congress was to give the freedmen 40 acres, but it was shot down very quickly, and so there was really no promise to these men of 40 acres. As my partner here said, where is this land coming from? The slaves amount for 1/3 of the South's population, and 40 acres would have, 40 acres being given to every freedman would have greatly exceeded the amount of land available in the South for every family to have 40 acres. And so since the South was once again part of the Union, we can't just take the land from the civilians of the South. It's just wrong and unethical. The Confederate leaders, that's a different story, but we'll get into that later. So I'm done.
The entire idea of taking the land away from the Confederates and giving it to the freedmen is a violation of the Constitution and is morally wrong. While it would be giving the freemen land, it would displace many white farmers who may or may not have fought in the war. And since the black people count for roughly 1/3 of the South's population, that is a lot of angry farmers. And all it does is fix one problem and creates even more.
Okay, you guys done with your opening statements? Okay, Ms. Bowman or Ms. Hanson.
Okay. Imagine living a life where all you knew were the shackles that confined you within the dark room of the dungeon. During the day you worked, never to reap the benefits of your labor. This was the life you knew. Suddenly you were free and to make your own decisions, but your sheltered life has not given you the ability to provide for yourself. America fights to release African Americans from working under the reign of white men for over 100 years and expects them to understand how to provide for oneself immediately after becoming freed men. With no land to farm in order to earn any substantial income and having never had an education, our country expected these individuals to understand natural, social, and economical behaviors of the world. Viewing President Lincoln's plan as a lenient, Thaddeus Stevens was determined to treat the defeated South states as conquered provinces. He believed that there should be consequences for succeeding, and that the land owned by Confederate soldiers should be confiscated and given to the new freed men. By claiming Confederates' land as retribution, it would enable these newly freed men the opportunity to begin a life where they were able to provide for their own needs. This is the first step for the South to redeem themselves, an opportunity for freed men to make a new life.
The new freedmen didn't have choice what color they were. They were forced to come over, and they were taken from their families. If you were in this situation, how would you want to be treated? And America was found on freedom for persecution. We didn't offer this to African Americans. We can do this now by giving them freedom.
Okay. Okay, pros. So Ellie, your group has 60 seconds to rebut anything you've heard. Starting now.
Okay. Freedmen fought during the Civil War for a noble cause. They were fighting for their own freedom, and encouraged the Union to stay together. The Confederates were working against this cause and for secession, looking to divide the Union. They committed treason by violating the Constitution. Originally, when America was founded, all states signed during the Revolution a contract saying that they would be one union and gain independence from Britain. They went against this agreement in their act to, in their fight for slavery. So, how can we justify this by not giving them free land as a retribution for the South?
Top, fine.
Oh.
Okay, okay. You guys have a rebuttal? Starting right now.
Okay, first of all, you said that the South had broken the Constitution and that this was punishment for them. This is true, they had broken the Constitution, but we had already pardoned them for those actions. And therefore we had no actions to prosecute them against, since their previous actions of slavery had not been against the Constitution until the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments had been created. So we had no true grounds to punish these Confederate leaders in any way. They were they were our countrymen. They were parts of our, they were citizens of our country.
Okay. The way we've got it set up, guys, is you have a chance now. Maybe we should have done it the other way. That you guys have the opportunity to make a statement.
We make the statement?
Yeah, maybe I think on the next time we should go probably to the pros, but go ahead, you can go ahead and make another statement and they get to rebut.
Okay. So if we were to go with your plan, where would we decide where this land comes from? How do we decide whose land we take? There were people in the South that were against the war efforts, they were against succeeding. Is it their fault that their state leaders followed through with that act? And who the Confederate leaders do we take? Do we take the generals? Do we take the lieutenants, colonels? Where is that coming from? And also, the slaves made up for a third of the population of the South. To give every free man 40 acres is unbelievable. There would be, in the South, there was large populations of African Americans all put together on the same plantation. So to spread them out through 40 acres, the South just simply isn't large enough for that. We didn't have the land to fulfill this promise that we had made for these freedmen.
Okay. Mel, you got a rebuttal?
Yeah, answer the
One third of the South are freedmen, and they will be a burden on society should we not help them provide the needs for basic living. That's what their intention with these.
Okay, that's your pro rebuttal. You guys want to go for another round?
Why
For
not?
pro statement, con rebuttal? Okay, go ahead, Ellie, you guys can make another statement and then a rebut.
Alright, 200 years of being enslaved, these newly free men deserve a portion of the land that they sweated, bled, and fought to develop. When they were enslaved, for over this 200-year span of time, they were entitled to almost nothing. They were provided the basic means to live. Without being paid to provide their own land, the chance to buy their own land, their own provisions, to make a life for themselves, they're entitled now, when we have this opportunity, now that they are free men, to give them that stand, that chance to make a life for themselves. The ideal America's ideal is the small farmer, these men who have the ability